progress from his first start to his second start?
Yeah, took care of the football, there throughout the game, which is a positive, something that with young players you stress. I thought operationally was cleaner as he gets more comfortable, more reps, more opportunities in and out of the huddle, communicating at the line of scrimmage. Felt like we had more time at the line of scrimmage to get some things called up front. So, I think ownership of the system, ownership of what we're asking him to do, making good decisions, I thought there was some progression there for sure.
Talked after the game Friday again and again yesterday about building trust with his receivers. How long should that take?
I don't know if there's a set timetable on that. Obviously, every rep you get, every opportunity you get to throw routes on air, see things in practice. For young players, the first time, every time you see something could be the first time. So I think all those reps add up, and I think there's a natural progression here as they continue to work together. That trust will be built, and it's really, getting on the same page and seeing things the same way so that things can become second nature for them on the field.
But then does frustration build as we saw Jerry Jeudy,
right,
yelling at him on the sideline?
Yeah, it's a competitive game. That's behind us at this point. I don't have any concern about their relationship, where they are, being on the same page. I think, look, everybody's competitive, wants to, play well and win games and do things the right way. So, that's something they've had a conversation on. That's completely behind us and moving forward.
What the disagreement was about, like what play it was on.
Yeah, I don't want to get into all the specifics there, except for the fact that it's a competitive environment, competitive game, and those guys have handled it, and we're all moving together on the same page.
It sounded like yesterday when Shedeur was talking, he said he thought he was seeing things well, but maybe not trusting enough to let it rip
right.
Some of the throws. Did you notice that?
Yeah, there's certainly some opportunities he probably wants back, and that's going to happen with a young player. You're seeing things, and things are moving quicker than you're used to, and every rep he gets, every opportunity he gets, he's going to get more and more comfortable. There's always going to be plays you want back. I think we had some things there that you felt like you had some opportunities to hit, and those are coachable moments for a young quarterback. Those are opportunities to point out, like, hey, this is what open looks like, or this is the defender that our eyes need to be on, and trust that you're going to make this throw. And in the same vein, he makes a lot of those plays too. So it's building comfort across the game plan, across the concepts, across the coverages he could see, to make sure that we can maximize all the opportunities we have. But he's done a nice job of throughout, the week of communicating and seeing things, and hey, I need another rep of this because I want to see it again. Like, all those points are really positive and moving in the right direction.
Do you believe in the game slowing down for a player, or is that just a byproduct of kind of what you're talking about, just seeing the game better?
I think those work hand in hand. I do think it slows down as you see it, as you get more exposed to it. 5 years from now, it's going to certainly feel slower to him. 5 weeks from now, it's going to certainly feel slower to him. So I do believe in, like, there comes a moment where you can kind of just, all right, take a breath. I'm seeing these things clearly. I've had plenty of reps on this. I can feel the defensive coverage, and things are starting to click.
You're upstairs seeing this in real time, seeing Jeudy open 3, 4, 5 times a game, not getting the ball. How do you not get frustrated during the course of the game?
Yeah, like, we're all competitive. We all want to win. We all want to play well. But my focus is why, or how do we get this corrected? It's not this. We have a young quarterback playing who's doing everything we're asking of him, doing a good job of working towards the progression. So I try to internalize it. Like, where did I not make this clean enough for him to go execute? There are plays throughout games where there's a myriad of reasons why things don't work out. It's our job as coaches to present the solutions for the players so that they can. And that's really where my focus is. It's like, I brought this example up last week. In his first, real game time against Baltimore, we called a play twice. The second time we hit Harold on that 2-minute drive for the in cut on the first play. We had called it earlier in the game. We had really the same look where we could have completed it. So the conversation is like, hey, what are we seeing? How do we get this corrected? This is what you should key and trust it. And then the next time we did, he executed it. And so that's where our focus is as a staff. That's where my focus is in the box, and trying to be as solution oriented and solution based as possible.
So, I know you guys drill into the quarterbacks, take care of the football, don't be reckless and things
Yeah.
like that. What's the balance now, considering where you're at in the season? Obviously wanting them to take care of the
Yeah.
ball and protect it, but also at the same time, testing their limits and what they can do in situations and the risk that does come.
Yeah, it all predicates what is the look that the defense is giving us, right? Are they giving us a look where we want to take that throw, where we are designing this to expose this coverage and get this play called and get this route thrown? If the defense predicates the look, let it rip. If they do something different or they take it away, you got to find your next read or your next solution. I've told a lot of angry receivers, look, man, I don't dictate where the ball goes. The defense does. If they play this coverage, it's going to end up here. It is what it is. It's the same thing for the quarterbacks. Like if they play the coverage we want and we call the right play and we get into the right look, I think like the play to Harold's a great example. Let's let it rip. That's the look we want. When it's not there, let's be smart and find a solution and we'll call it again. The other plays in between, it's like, hey, when we have the look and we have the play, that's when it's time to let it rip, and that's where we want to make sure we're maximizing our opportunities.
With Deshaun back in practice,
Yep.
what are your goals for him over the next few weeks? What are you guys trying to
Make him comfortable, I think, get him back in the swing of things, not put a ton of expectations on, big picture, but hey, let's get back into the swing of doing drills, back into the swing of throwing full speed routes to our receivers, our tight ends, getting comfortable at the line of scrimmage, like get him back feeling comfortable and playing the position and continue to work and improve, where he's at.
The fourth down play calls, just
Yes, sir.
obviously they didn't go the way you wanted. Kevin talked about
Yeah.
how you go into those situations feeling confident and you like the play call that you
Yeah.
have. But what are those conversations like in those moments, and how do you balance feel for the game and knowing where you're at, not wanting to set your defense back versus, hey, the analytics say this, or we feel really good about it.
Yeah, look, the decision on going for it or not, like Kevin does a great job of communicating that ahead of time so you can have your sequencing of plays ready to go. I would say I've been a part of staffs where you get an abrupt, hey, go for, and then you're like, Kevin does a wonderful job of in the sequence of calls of, hey, if we get this thing to short yardage, we're in a go area here. Look, the first call, we were damn near 100% on that scheme throughout the season. They had some movement. We can put our guys in a better position up front to handle the movement, and that's our job as coaches. And they made a nice play there on the left side. The second one, the personnel coming in with the injuries, some of the things that we needed to manage there, got it set. That's a play we've repped since August, I think. With Harold, and we had confidence in him being able to execute that. And I think you see across the league, you've certainly seen here in the past of the tight end sneak play with quarterbacks not sneaking as much, have a lot of success in the plays that come off of it. Certainly we saw one a couple weeks ago against Baltimore. So that's a play we had confidence in. I wish it would have been smoother and cleaner. And but we're not going to lose confidence in our players. We're not going to lose confidence in the ability to be aggressive. And there are some things like I internalize of, hey, are there better options here in these situations? Are there some things that we can do differently? And certainly as a staff, we're motivated to make sure we get those situations right. We had been pretty good in 4th and 1 throughout the year and felt really confident in some of those schemes. But, we're always, as you get good at something, teams are going to do some things to take it away. So our job is to make sure that we have complementary plays off of that.
Were you upstairs screaming, call timeout? Not listening.
A lot of focus on me being upstairs here with these questions, but you're welcome to come sit there. Yeah, look, I'm keeping an eye on the shot clock. Felt like we had enough time. So, we certainly got set. We just didn't execute it in the moment.
You guys had some success running the ball, just
Yeah.
in general, but at some of those short yards, even before 4th and 1, I think it was 2nd and 2 and 3rd and 1.
Correct. Yeah. We would love to just go get it there, right? We ran the wide zone on 3rd and 1. We had a tight zone or a duo on 3rd and 2 or 2nd and 2, and we felt like we could get. We were trying to sequence hey, let's go steal it on this one, knowing that we're going to move forward and get the first. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off your question.
I guess did they change something that kind of took away some of the early success?
They played us differently in the second half. They played a different front, certainly. We were still, if you look at those first couple drives in the second half, we were still about 5 yards a pop in the run game. We had a couple good ones to get a first down. We started the drive we got stopped on, we started with the sprint out, got 8 yards, and then, had 2 1-yard runs, we had been running it so much more effectively up to that point, and that's when we got stopped on fourth down. But, when we were backed up, we ran 2 runs and got a first down and had some success there. So it felt like we were still running the ball at a pretty good clip. And then once it became a 2-score game, obviously the game flow becomes a little bit different. But we knew that we felt really good about our matchups and our run plan going into the game. And, it felt like in the first half there was really some time where we were in control of the momentum of the game because we were able to run the ball at such a good clip. For us, we fell short in some situational football. We got into the high kind of strike zone area and unfortunately went backwards and lost 3 points of the opportunity for 3 points there. We got to a 4th and 1 twice, didn't execute. Like, we got to be really good in those critical moments to stay on the field and, obviously score more points.
So kind of going week to week with your quarterback decision and naming the starter like that.
What are they, you said? Yeah. I just think it, one, breeds confidence into the group and the player, and, allows you to put a game plan together that, is tailored to that individual, and one that you feel like gives them the most confidence and chance to have success.
Benefits are to having Deshaun on the practice field for these young quarterbacks that actually on.
Yeah. Deshaun's been so great throughout the year in the meeting room with the young guys, with the vets. Like, I can't say enough good things about him. I really can't. And then his ability to be out there and see things and communicate, talk to those young players, them to also just like observe and learn from a guy that's played at a really, really high level in this league and has been through a lot of the battles that young quarterbacks face. Like, I think their ability to just see that in person and, similar to what it was like when Joe was here, and being able to observe and then also be able to lean on him on the field and in the meeting room.
During the pre-draft process, you guys obviously did your due diligence on all these quarterbacks. Just what were conversations like with Cam, and what stood out about him as a player as you guys get
Competitive, like ultra competitive, good free throw shooter. I think he knocked down 9 straight out here. Really enjoyed our time with Cam. Like, we'll be a fan of his and rooting for him. Just his family was great. He has a good way about him, confident, ultra competitive, like made up of the right stuff. And so we'll be rooting for Cam throughout his career. Just through my brief interactions with him leading up to the draft, like, really liked the kid and really liked what he was about.
With the chance and Deshaun is ready to run the scout team, how might that be good for your defense, just in terms of maybe seeing a dual threat quarterback?
Yeah, those are not up to me. So we'll see how things transpire. And our focus is to let's get Deshaun comfortable and better and feeling good, and then we'll see where things go. Thanks, guys.
All right, there we have it. Offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns, Tommy Rees. I'm your host, Randy Prentice, host of Premier Sports Talk. I am glad to see that Mr. Tommy Rees is still with the Cleveland Browns this week. For those of you hearing my voice for the very first time, I posted last week, there's a possibility that Tommy Rees may not be the offensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns in the foreseeable future. He's one of the #1 candidates to take over the job at the University of UCLA. It's himself, and I forget the other gentleman's name, but Tommy Rees is one of the top 2 candidates, and he may not be with the Cleveland Browns next year. So I'm glad he's still here for all the young quarterbacks' sake. I think he relates better to not only to ShedeurSanders and to Dillon Gabriel, because Tommy Rees was with the University of Notre Dame. He was on Nick Saban's Alabama team. So he's experienced, so he has more relatability to both Dillon and Shedeur. I'm hoping that they'll let the training wheels off of Shedeur. They've been doing, being kind of tight with his play calling, tight with the amount of times he throws. The inclement weather limited their play calling, but there was plays out there that Tommy Rees just said that was left out on the field, and Shedeur in his interview also said there was some plays that he wants to get back, and he has to have trust. He has to trust and believe in what he sees, and in his words, saying, let it rip. And then he also has to trust and believe in his teammates. I'm not just specifically talking about trusting and believing in Jerry Jeudy, the so-called number one wide receiver. He was talking about all of them, because Shedeur stated that in practice, they practice things one way, they line up a certain way on the field, but then when they get in the game, they're not where they're supposed to be. They're not running the route that they're supposed to. He was just talking in general. He wasn't singling anybody out. He just says he has to trust who he's out there with. So it is what it is. I've been following the Sanders family, not only Shedeur, but his father, DeionSanders, for quite some time. His brother, DeionSanders Jr., a.k.a. Bucky, a.k.a. Osakian, on his Well Off Media channel. Before the draft and prior, after the college season and leading up to the draft, Cam Ward and Shedeur are very close friends. They are very close. They are very competitive. Very competitive. You even heard offensive coordinator said how ultra competitive that that Cam Ward is. They battle in their throws. I'm talking about Shedeur when they worked out together and when they're practicing. They both have, if you don't know, they both have the same personal quarterback trainer. The name of his company is called Select QB. So they know each other very well. I posted on the channel Shedeur's interview and how the media was asking about how Shedeur felt about Cam. And I also posted earlier this morning, I dropped a live feed, Cam Ward getting introduced by the media down there in Tennessee. And they both, it's like they both spoke in the same identical manner, very complimentary of each other. So they respect one another. It's going to be very competitive. I know they both are going to want to win this game. The media want to, the media want to push it as the Cam Ward versus Shedeur, like it's some boxing match, but in all actuality, it's the Tennessee Titans against the Cleveland Browns. I'm looking forward to tapping into this game. I'm thinking that because of the Cleveland Brown defense and that human terminator that I like to call Mr. Myles Garrett, I think that presents the edge in this game. So I'm predicting the Cleveland Browns to win this game. But I believe that both Cam Ward and ShedeurSanders will both play in both games, with Shedeur getting the edge. I'm your host, Randy Prentice, the host of Premier Sports Talk. I need to thank each and every one of you who subscribe to the channel. We got 3,400 subscribers on the path to almost hitting 4,000. If you can do me a favor to help push this live video feed out, it matters that you drop comments. It matters that you hit that thumbs up button. And most importantly, you all matter, because without your support, there is no Premier Sports Talk. Again, I'm Randy Prentice, the host of Premier Sports Talk. If you didn't know, now you know, like I always like to say. We just heard from Tommy Rees, Browns offensive coordinator, and he believes in ShedeurSanders and the way that things are progressing, and he looks for him to do good things out on the field this upcoming week. Y'all have a blessed one, and may y'all be a blessing to others.